Hello, everybody. Welcome to Podnutz Daily, show number 346. Podnutz Daily is the podcast where computer techs talk computer tech to one another, to you, to anybody who wants to learn a little more about fixing computers for your job or your hobby or your aunt or your mom or your sister. But we fix computers, and if you do, you can pick up some tips and tricks, some tools. Tonight's a really special guest, the author of D7, Nick Shaw, is going to be on with us tonight. He's created quite a nice little program for helping us diagnose and fix computer problems. Uh, this is episode 346 on March 1st, 2012. Nick, how's it going tonight?
It's going well. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, it's an honor to have you. I've used your program a couple times. You want to explain people what D7 is?
That's a loaded question. D7 is it's basically a tool for computer technicians. It doesn't really do much for you, but it assists you in doing your work. One of the things that it helps you out is malware removal, for example, data backup, quick access to Windows tweaks, things of that nature, stress testing. At a glance, you can determine if something's wrong with the system log, the Windows event logs, system or application logs, things of that nature.
What brought you to writing D7? What inspired you to do this? Are you a computer programmer by trade? Tell us a
Not
little
at
bit about
all.
that.
Not at all. I'm just a bench tech. That's what I've always been. I've been a bench tech since 97 or 8 or something like that, officially. And basically, I started out just getting frustrated with the repetitiveness of doing a lot of everyday tasks.
Mm-hmm.
And what I ended up doing was at the time, or many years ago, I was very big into batch files. So I created a ton of batch files to do a lot of things for me. Batch files to do everything from backing up data to removing ad and spyware. At the time, it was really easy to do a batch file to remove ad and spyware because they all like to use the same file names and directory names where they stored themselves. It wasn't random at the time, so it was very easy to do things like that. So I created a lot of batch files, and over the years, the need just outgrew batch. I had to move to a programming language where I could make it more robust and do more things.
How do you want to get into how you did that a little more? What what program did you use to write D7, or what file
Well,
language?
I went with VB6, Visual Basic 6, and I did that because actually on recommendation from a friend, Kyle, and the thought process was that VB6 would be extremely easy to learn. I can use my batch-oriented mind to create Visual Basic programs. I dabbled a little bit in Basic before that, back in the DOS days. Um, so it was very easy to do. And another thing was that boot CDs were starting to become popular, your Windows PE-based boot CDs. And Windows PE-based boot CDs don't run .NET. So it was an easy choice to go with VB6 because they would work cross-platform, without having any dependencies like .NET.
Well,
And
that's
also
cool.
.NET tends not to work on some systems regardless. So
Yeah, I'm sure we've all had our .NET problems over the years trying to get things
mhm.
going with that. Um, for now, D7, is that free? Right now, it's free to download for everybody. And if somebody wants to try it, where do they find that?
You find it at foolishit.com. you or foolishit.com/D7. It is a free download and it's free to use. I have my license set up so that it's also free for commercial use, so techs can go ahead and use it and not worry about violating any license terms. Completely free. There's only recently I did put in place a few nag screens for registration, and I limited one single feature and for registered users only. I'm starting to get a large registered user base, and a lot of people have been pushing for me to move towards a freemium model, and I decided that it was time to do that. So I went ahead and I restricted, the only feature I actually restrict that is not free is D7 Auto, which basically on each tab in D7 you have a list of items that you can do, and you can click the button and it does the item. With D7 Auto, it just does everything automatically in order for you. That's the only feature I've restricted to a registered version. So
Now, from a user standpoint, if for someone who's never seen D7, you say that there's different like batches that you click, and it would do a number of different things all at once for you. What can you kind of describe what and kind of go through the layout of D7, what people can expect to see?
well, sure. From the top or from the automated standpoint?
Yeah, either both, whatever, however you want to do it.
Well, let's go from the automated standpoint. And I'll just have to give you. Oh no. Have you lost me?
Oh no, I hear you. You're back. We just don't have video yet. That's okay. Yeah, if you want to just pick up where you were at, describing D7.
Okay, perfect. No, from the automated standpoint, basically,
I can hear you.
Oh, drat. I'm afraid I've lost you.
Hang on, guys.
I'm still seeing myself.
Hang on. Nick, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is Steve. Hang on a sec.
I can hear you too, Steve.
Okay, Eric. How's your speed, Eric? Your speeds? Looking pretty solid?
It was. Let's take a look. Yeah, it looks good. Did I drop off? Did I?
Yeah.
Man, it's Comcast.
Famous last words. All right.
Yeah. Every time, huh?
Okay, well, you guys are back, so just keep carrying on. You don't have anything going on in the background, right, Eric?
That's what I was just checking now. I turned everything off already.
Okay. Just keep going with it, and if it happens again, I'll just jump back on. Nick was explaining the layout of D7.
Yes. Essentially, in D7, I have a series of tabs, and on the first tab, when you first start the application, is information tab, and this is mainly used to give you at a glance just information on the computer. When Windows was installed, you want to know how many days old it is. I mean, I'm actually staring at mine as 589.3 days old. That's how old my Windows installation is. My uptime is 14 days since my last reboot. But there's a lot of information on this tab, whether you have antivirus or not, whether the antivirus is, whether you have multiple antivirus installed, just whether there are errors in the event log, problem devices in the device manager. All of these things are reported to you on the information tab, including a number of other things. For example, your video driver, your motherboard make and model number, or Dell system tag. You can actually click on, for example, the motherboard model number or the Dell system tag, and it will copy the motherboard model number or the Dell system tag to the Windows clipboard and prompt you to go to the manufacturer's website to download drivers. And then you can just paste that model number right in there, and you're downloading drivers. No more looking around to the back of the case or pulling the side of the case and looking inside to see the model of the board, things like that. And that's pretty much what the info tab is for, is just at a glance information. Then we have a couple of maintenance tabs, a tweaks, a repair tab, a malware tab, a data grab tab, which is for backing up data only, and an offline tab, which is for using D7 from an offline environment like a Windows PE boot CD or a TechBench computer with customer's hard drive slave to it. Excuse me. And basically on each tab, you just have a bunch of tasks that you can do. My main tabs are the maintenance and the malware tabs. And these probably get the most mileage of anything in the application. Maintenance tab takes you through clearing event logs, checking your time zone to make sure that's correct, syncing the time with the internet, checks the desktop and start menu shortcuts for anything broken. Although that feature is a little buggy at the moment, but I'm working on it. Then it takes you through a few other things. You can brand the operating system with your custom logos and text, for your system properties dialog and such. Install some shortcuts on the desktop if you want to put a shortcut to your website on the desktop as part of the routine. Then of course I have, deleting all of your temp files, your leftovers from Windows service packs and Windows updates, purging system restore, deleting Internet Explorer toolbars and BHOs, empty the recycling bin, run popular applications like CCleaner and Defraggler, defragment startup items. I can really go on for a long time, but the other thing about the maintenance and the malware tab is that you can add your own custom applications to it. So if you have some apps that you use that I don't, you can easily add those to D7 and have those as part of your routine. So I think that's probably the most important feature of D7, because a lot of people do things that I don't, or they use apps that I don't. So that's key.
What's the process to add something? Is it pretty easy for somebody to do, or is that a little difficult?
Extremely simple. Essentially, for the custom apps, like for example, on the maintenance tab, I've provided to you 5 slots to add your own custom apps, and they're labeled custom app 0, custom app 1, etc. And you just click on the label where it says custom app 0, and it brings up the configuration, and you can simply enter in a name and enter in a path to the executable, which typically the executable I want you to keep in a third-party tools directory, which is a subdirectory inside whatever directory you have D7 stored in. And that's all. You can optionally add command line parameters to be executed as part of D7 Auto. So, for example, when I actually run D7 Auto, it would execute those command line parameters. And the idea there is you want to use an application that has command line parameters that allows it to run automatically and silently or what have you. So you have as little user interaction there as possible. And that's good for the custom apps. Another neat thing that you can do for a custom app that I have for every application that D7 uses natively is that you can also enter in an optional download URL, and D7 will download the application on the fly whenever you try to use it, if it's not already there. So that's kind of another exciting feature that I added to D7 not long ago, and I'm still hyped about it. I love it. The great thing about that is that you can transfer D7 by itself. Say you're working with a computer remotely. You transfer D7 by itself over to the computer, and instead of having 100 meg of third-party tools with you, that you need to transfer